Welcome to St. Paul Public Schools Today, the TV show that keeps you up to date on school district news. This program will focus on the referendum, which will appear on the November 7th election ballot. The Board of Education voted last summer to ask voters whether they would be willing to provide additional financial support to improve student achievement in the St. Paul Public Schools. If voters approve the referendum, the district would use the additional resources for two things: time and technology. Technology is a new basic skill for today's students, along with reading, writing, and mathematics. By strengthening technology in our schools, we will bring the information revolution into the classroom by investing in high-quality educational software and hardware, link students to the world by connecting them to the internet, and strengthen instruction by training teachers in the most effective ways to use technology to raise student achievement in all subject areas. Business leaders have told us they want and expect strong technology skills from today's graduates.
Hi, I'm Joan Thompson from Minnesota Wire and Cable Company. In our rapidly changing world, today's high school graduates are expected to be information literate. Technology has changed everything. Some jobs that could be performed years ago without a formal education now require a whole new level of sophistication. Minnesota Wire and Cable Company, through its efforts in school-to-work activities such as mentoring, job shadowing, and internships, tries to communicate this message to students and teachers both. Computer access varies widely throughout the school district. While some St. Paul students have daily access, others only have access once a week. This is inadequate. In the St. Paul Public Schools, there is one internet-ready computer for every 19 students. The national average is about 1 to 8. All St. Paul Public Schools have internet access. However, many schools only have access in specific areas of the building, such as the main office, library, media center, or computer lab. About 85% of the classrooms are wired for the internet, but only 35% of the classrooms have computers that are connected to the internet for student use. With a successful referendum, school site councils made up of parents, school staff, and community members will make recommendations on how to use their school's referendum funds. Minnesota Wire and Cable Company, as well as other business leaders in the community, believe that strong skills in technology will help ensure a successful future for our students.
These children are our future, and we have to teach these children how to use technology and how to use the tools that are available today. Because when we teach them that, they're the generation that's going to make the advances for us in society. This room full of kids are future artists and scientists and doctors and astronauts. And what we teach them, the grounding that we give them, the tools that we give them are going to make all the difference in our society as these kids grow up. We grew up without knowing what the internet was or without using a computer. I guarantee you most of the kids in this room know what the internet is. They know how to use it for research. They use it for communication. They use computer programs for art, for science, for reading, for learning. They use it for fun. It's a way to connect with the world. It's a way for them to grow. But most importantly, it's the way for them to contribute to society. Today's business world requires us to all understand and use technology. If you can't do that, you can't contribute and you can't take your place and do what you need to do in the world. And as a parent and as a businesswoman, I just want to encourage all of us to continue our investment in technology and education, because this is the future in this room. And if we don't support them, there won't really be much of a future. But if we do support them, the sky's the limit.
The traditional school day does not provide enough time for all students to master all the skills they need. Some students need more time before school, after school, or in an environment that allows for more individual attention. Here to talk about how the St. Paul Public Schools are expanding the traditional school day to increase student achievement is Area Superintendent Joanne Knuth.
Hello, I'm Joanne Knuth, Area C Superintendent for St. Paul Public Schools. I've worked in St. Paul many years, and over those years I have seen many changes. Over the last 10 years, enrollment has increased by 24% and only recently has started to level off. The growth of students with special needs, however, has substantially outpaced overall enrollment growth. For example, the students receiving special education services have increased by 37% from 4,500 to over 6,000 students. Students in poverty have increased by 106%, going from 13,500 to nearly 28,000 students. That's nearly 2/3 of our total enrollment. Students with limited English proficiency have increased by 316%, going from 4,000 to nearly 17,000 students, more than 1/3 of our total enrollment. The St. Paul Public Schools are committed to preparing all students for life, but some students need more time than others to reach high standards, and providing that additional time costs money. This year, for example, nearly $22.4 million was taken from our general fund's compensatory revenue to cover unfunded costs of educating students with limited English proficiency and other special needs. The additional resources from the referendum will allow us to do several things. We would be able to help all students master the basics early by expanding all-day kindergarten, before and after school programs, and early childhood programs. We will be able to increase individualized attention by creating smaller learning environments, especially at the secondary level. And we will be able to target critical knowledge and skills by implementing proven strategies for raising achievement in math, science, reading, English, and other core subjects. Unfortunately, the St. Paul Public Schools cannot currently meet the demand for early childhood family education programs. On the contrary, we anticipate having to turn away as many as 900 families due to funding limitations. If the referendum passes, it will help us generate approximately $415 per student for a total of $22 million every year for 5 years. Now, 1/3 of those funds will come from St. Paul, and the other 2/3 will come from the state of Minnesota. Property taxes, for instance, on a house valued at $100,000 would increase by about 25 cents a day. Of the total amount raised, 75% of the funds will go directly to schools and site councils. 25% of the funds will go toward district-wide support services such as teacher training, technology infrastructure, and early childhood education, which ultimately will impact what happens in every St. Paul classroom. Now here's a list of how much each school is projected to receive. St. Paul's new accountability system will hold schools accountable for the quality and effectiveness of all programs implemented with referendum funds. Don't forget to vote on November 7th. Your vote is important.
Throughout the fall, all St. Paul students in kindergarten to grade 12 will be learning about the election process as part of the Kids Voting Project, a national effort to raise awareness about the importance of voting. After learning about how to register and fill out a ballot, our students will actually go to the polls, where they can submit completed ballots in a special ballot box. Results of the kids' voting ballots will be tabulated and reported by local news organizations. Now that you know more about the referendum, we hope you will make an effort to vote on November 7th. Here's what the ballot will look like. The referendum item is right here. If you are eligible to vote but have not yet registered, please call 651-266-2171. If you're not eligible to vote, please take your child to the polling place on Election Day so you can learn about the voting process together. For additional information about the referendum, ask the principal at your child's school or check out the district's website at www.spps.org. Thanks for tuning in to St. Paul Public Schools Today.